We're good to go. Good afternoon, everybody.
Hello?
Welcome to the, hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, Chief.
Good afternoon, everybody. This
Good
is
afternoon.
the first webinar for the Human Rights Commission for the City of Revere. I'd like to welcome everybody here joining us. Again, my name is Chris White. I'm the chief of the fire department, and I'm basically here as pro temp or temporary chair to kick things off today. First order of business, we're going to take a roll call vote, a roll call of the membership. Chief Callahan.
Present.
Present. Dr. Lorenzo Garcia.
Present.
Peru Pitch. Present. Lynn Alexis.
Present.
Reverend Timothy Bogardman, excuse me.
Present.
Rashid Mohabir. Present. And for the non-confirmed members at this time, Janine Mara.
Present.
Shayma Mansour Hosani. I hope I didn't ruin your name there. Apologize if I did. Present? No. Not present. Kathy Ann Weinstein
Present.
and Jalen Fowler.
Present.
And welcome everybody. The first order of business, we're gonna watch a presentation on racial equity and demographic data for the city of Revere that Mr. Canta is gonna help present us. So just bear with us for a minute while we begin the presentation.
Hi, sorry about that. Just very briefly, back in June, the mayor began a process where he initiated a data study, a racial equity data study. We had a great group of fellows who spent the summer working on this, and I am going to now introduce Noah Coolidge, who is at the Heller School at Brandeis, a graduate student there and someone that I've known in the community for a while. And he is going to be showing some slides and go live with us. So Noah, the floor is yours.
Great, thank you very much, Ruben, and thank you, Chief. Just share my screen. So this, most of the data that I'm going to be sharing today is from the American Community Survey conducted by the US Census Bureau. It's probably one of the most comprehensive, deepest sources of demographic information available, but it is limited in certain ways that I'll point out. One thing to note about the survey is it separates race and ethnicity. It has, for ethnicity, the options are Hispanic or Latino or not Hispanic and Latino, not Hispanic or Latino. For race, Asian, Black or African American, some other race, two or more races, Native American and Hawaiian Pacific Islander, and white or Caucasian. This is the breakdown for Revere as a whole. As you can see, about 80% of the population identifies as white, including, as you'll see on the next slide, about a third, and about a third identify as Hispanic or Latino. This is how the racial breakdown looks when you look at it by ethnicity. You can see that 79% of Hispanics in Revere consider themselves white, identify as white, and as well as a significant percentage of those who consider themselves to be of some other race or of two or more races, which I think is a important thing to note as we sort of go forward. This is the same data, but sort of broken out more specifically. And as you can see, about 44% of the city is a race other than white non-Hispanic. This is how it breaks down by age. As you can see, the over 65 and the 55 to 64, very strong majority white non-Hispanic. Smaller, though, as you go down the age ranges, increasingly more diversity, as you can see in the 20 to 34 and the under 20 groups, significant majorities would be considered people of color. So it's, I think, really important to consider these trends in looking at some of the other data going forward. So for instance, the income data, I think this tells a significant part of that story, that the age cohorts in the city are not necessarily each representative of the racial diversity of the city. Revere is considered to be a city of immigrants by many, of course. This map shows where Revere residents are from who were born in another country. This does not include second generation immigrants, so those whose parents or grandparents or great grandparents immigrated here. As you can see, substantial populations from South and Latin America, South and Central America, with Colombia and El Salvador both being very significant. Also a significant Moroccan population, but also from China and Southeast Asia, Morocco, Brazil. So quite a diverse city, as well as Italy and Southern Europe. This is a detailed sort of look at the racial breakdown of those who consider themselves Hispanic or Latino, the national origin. And this, I believe, does include those who are second or third generation. So you can see about a third Salvadorian, a little less than that, though similar percentage, Colombian, and then pretty significant diversity as well. Significant Peruvian, Mexican, Honduran, Dominican, Guatemalan, and Puerto Rican populations. So it's important to think that when we're looking at any of these racial or ethnic groups, they are not homogeneous by any means. Similarly, for Asian residents, there's significant diversity, about pretty evenly split between Vietnamese, Cambodian, Chinese, and then Indian and what is sort of all lumped together into other Asian, making up sort of a pretty diverse picture. Linguistic diversity is, I think, an important consideration for you to look at as you begin your work. This chart is based on the, unfortunately, we're limited somewhat by the language categories that the Census Bureau asks about. So for instance, they don't specifically ask about Portuguese. It gets categorized as other Indo-European languages, along with a lot of other European and Middle Eastern languages, and even South Asian languages. So as you can see, significant percentage of Spanish speakers. So first of all, approximately half of Revere residents speak a language other than English at home. And about half of those residents, so about a quarter of the city's population, speak English less than very well. And this is all by self-identification. So if you're wondering what less than very well means, it's sort of as they consider the term. As you can see, within each language group, there's some difference in what percentage speak English very well or not. So you can see for Spanish speakers, fairly substantial majority speak English less than very well. For other language groups, that's less significant. Though I would say for many of these groups, including Portuguese, I think there's significant language diversity in the city that needs to be thought about and to ensure that all voices are heard. So looking at income, the median income by race, and this is household median income, is fairly clustered, but there is a fair bit of diversity. You can see among Asian residents, it's a fair bit lower than the citywide total of about 55,000. Among Black residents, it's higher. Hispanic Latino also a bit higher, and then white non-Hispanic a bit lower. Again, I think some of this is linked to the aging white population and sort of a younger African American population and Hispanic Latino population. We looked at households receiving food stamps in the past year, and it's worth noting that this data is all before COVID, by the way, and before it is an average of 2014 to 2018 for most of these slides. You can see a significant percentage of Asian, multiracial, as well as white households receiving SNAP or food stamps or some kind of assistance. And it's about a total of 2,000 families in Revere, about 2,700 families in Revere receiving SNAP. Of course, there's a bit of a margin of error on all these numbers, which I've reported in this one. But it gives you a sense of that it could be, almost 300. It could be about 100, for instance, for that top category. This is households with income below the federal poverty level. And it's worth noting that looking at both the percentage of households within each racial group that falls below the poverty level and the percentage of the total population. I think both are interesting numbers to look at in a lot of ways. You can see, I think this one is sort of one of those slides that it helps to look at for a few minutes and to sort of think about it. But you can see about a quarter of the households below the federal poverty level are Hispanic Latino, about half are white non-Hispanic. And the white non-Hispanic, about a 13% of white households in Revere, Hispanic Latino, about 10%. This look at home ownership by race versus homeowners versus renters. So you can see white families are more likely to own their own home, with a little over 50% owning a home. Hispanic and Black families substantially less likely to own a home, and Asian slightly more likely than Hispanic, but still substantially less likely than white. And again, this is households, not necessarily individuals. This is a look at housing cost burden by race for homeowners. So among those who are homeowners, we can see that across all racial groups, there's a fairly substantial percentage of households that are paying at least 30% of their income in rent. Over a quarter, almost a third of Hispanic households paying close to 30%, about 25%, paying over half their income in housing costs among those who own a home. Again, you can see some contrast here between the white non-Hispanic and the Hispanic. Among renters, so the one previously was homeowners. So that was, mortgage, utilities. This is rent as well as utilities. You can see that both white and Hispanic households, as well as Asian households, spending significant portions of their incomes on housing costs. This is a look at, we looked at some data from the state on the public school enrollment, as well as the population data. You can see there's a bit of a difference here between the population 0 to 20 and the school population in the Revere Public Schools. This is a look at the race of teachers and students in the Revere Public Schools. As you can see, Hispanic students make up about 57% of students and 3.9% of teachers. White students make up about 33% of students and about 92% of teachers. And this is just a look at educational attainment and highest degree earned. So whether they have less than a high school diploma, high school graduate, some college or associates, or bachelor's or beyond. By racial group, you can see there's some very, I think, very interesting trends that Hispanic residents, a substantially lower percentage, have college degrees compared to Asian, whereas white non-Hispanic, fairly similar to, has substantially more, sort of similar to Black population. And I believe that's all I have.
Thank you, Noah. At this time, I'd like to open it up to the commissioners. Anyone have any questions or comments on the data just presented?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So Noah, with respect to the last slide showing the education, can you pull it up one more time? I just have a question as to the way that I'm reading the data. It seems as if the Hispanic population has the majority of bachelor So I see 4,488. Is that signifying the amount of individuals that have bachelors?
That number is the
sorry,
number of high school graduates.
Okay, I see.
So it's in order of going left to right from least to most.
Okay, I see. It was just the color that I mistaken.
Yeah, no, the color is a little.
Okay, similar. Okay, I see. That makes sense as to what you said. Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions from the commissioners or comments?
I just wanna thank Noah for putting this data together. It gives us a comprehensive and a good understanding of where the city is demographically, racially, and in terms of who has access to what and what we need to put our emphasis or our attention, so that we can help those who probably have less access and where the wealth distribution for wealth should be tailored a little bit to support those who have less. So certainly, our city has come a long way, but looking at the demographics, I was just looking at the graphic, the chart that shows the number of white teachers versus the number of students who attend our public schools. You can clearly see that that number. We're talking about 94% of teachers in our system are white, and we have a minority that has become the majority in the district, with 57% of Latino students in our school. So it gives us, it shows us clearly, and the same thing applies to access to housing, rent, number of people with a bachelor's degree, et cetera, et cetera. It gives us a very strong snapshot of our city and where, as a collective body, we need to go to really work with our Latino populations, with our immigrant parents and families, to ensure that we create services so that the wealth and other resources are more equitably distributed across the board. That's my observation.
Thank you,
One thing I
Dr.
would just
Gaskia.
note, it does, these numbers are fairly consistent across the state, but it doesn't mean that that it's not an issue that the city can work to address.
I have a question. So this data, I'm assuming, was collected to I'm assuming online. How did people self-respond to it? I'm just curious.
This one comes from the State Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. I believe.
Oh, sorry, I don't mean this one specifically.
Oh.
Sorry, I meant when more so in the beginning when we were talking about all the different measurements, by education level or household gaps, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, how was that? Did something go out to households, or was it all collected online?
Yeah, the American Community Survey gets sent, I think, to about 10% of households nationwide. They try and sort of weight it to get a representative sample, and it's done. These are 5-year averages, so I believe they're pretty aggressive about getting people. I think you get sent a letter. If you don't respond to that by going online, you get a phone call. Eventually someone might come to your house. It's sort of like the census in that they do a pretty good job of trying to track down people, but I think it is worth noting that in communities with that lower census response rates, as much of Revere has been designated as, that is an issue. And I think that sort of raises another frustration that I ran into in putting this together is that, there were so many pieces that, so many questions that we wanted to include that we just weren't able to find good data to get answers to.
This data will change after the census being collected, correct? It's like, let's say next year.
Yes,
And
I believe they
how-
update this every year. The ACS data is different than the census data. It's collected by the same agency, but they do it every year, and this is sort of a 5-year rolling average. So but they release numbers every year, and they do sort of another set of the population every year.
So I assume this data, like you said earlier, it's not as accurate as the population we have. Because I'm thinking about other people who are not reporting, thinking about undocumented family, immigrants family who are not being reported to the data. So
Yeah, I think they do weighting to try and address that somewhat, but I think that is definitely a concern.
Yeah, I just want to say one more thing regarding to the question, the last question. I think it's definitely a concern. For example, you will find people from Algeria, from Morocco, from those African countries that have a lot of influence, European influence from France and other old colonies. Those people, they report themselves as white. So it's certainly an issue that many people have with. For example, people from Brazil, Latin American countries, some of them, we saw it on the survey, on this data, they report themselves as white as well. So there's some inconsistencies in terms of reporting the data, and that's something that we need to take into account.
Thank you, Dr. Garcia, for bringing that up. I was actually going to talk about it because there is a huge Moroccan community in the city of Revere that I cannot see it represented in the statistics. By the way, I'm originally from Morocco, and there was a study that was done by some teachers at the Beachmont that was published in Revere Journal, stating that almost 20% of the kids at the Beachmont Elementary School are from Moroccan descent. And if we are having this significant statistics or population in the Beachmont School, it tells us that there is a huge Moroccan community in the city that we need probably to find a way of capturing that data, because the actual census form does not guide them and does not show them how to do it. I try to educate some people, but it's not that easy. I personally report myself as other, and they put Moroccan in there. And they was hoping that it's gonna be significant forms reported like that probably that may lead to creating a category just for the Moroccan community. And I really like that the data that we have, it's a good start. And they really like the way it was break down into countries, because sometimes we put all Latinos in the same category, but it's not. They speak probably the same language, but the culture is very different. The same thing with Moroccans, probably the first language is Arabic, but the culture in all different Arab countries is kind of clearly different. And I can give you an example of an experiment that I have done in the past. I'm very active in the community, by the way, and I did establish a magazine in the past called the Arab American Voice, where I tried to have a voice for the Arab American community, but it didn't succeed. The reason is because all of these groups are completely diverse. And when I focused on the Moroccan community, by establishing the organization that I lead now, which is Moroccan American Connections in Revere. It had a huge success because you are addressing that specific community that you understand their culture. And that's probably just an example that we have to pay attention to. And I believe this is a very good start. We have a group that is diverse, that we understand different cultures in the city. And I'm happy to serve in this commission. And thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Rashid. Anybody else? I'm going to pass the mic over to Ruben Canta. I'd like to add a few comments.
Yeah, first, I just really want to appreciate Noah Coolidge and the whole team. So he had a team with Aaron Askanase, as well as an individual, Spencer Gurley Green. The three of them spent a lot of time working on this. So thanks to them. We are still doing additional data work to present to the commission. I didn't introduce myself. My name is Ruben Canta. I'm the Chief Innovation Officer for the city. And we're going to just continue doing more of this work for you guys. And certainly if you have questions or things that you want, please let me know and I can get that over to the data team and see what other information we can provide you. So with that, I am going to pass it back to the chief to continue the meeting. Thanks so much to Noah and the team, and to all you for participating.
Thank you, Ruben. The next item on the agenda is discussion of the mission for the Human Rights Commission. Probably a good opportunity to go around the horn, have everyone introduce themselves, and you can make a brief statement on what your thoughts are on the mission for the task of this commission. And I'd like to start things off with Chief David Callahan, please.
Chief, thank you. I just want to introduce myself. My name is David Callahan. I'm the chief of police for here in the city of Revere. I just started about July 1st, so probably a few months ago. I've been on the police department for almost 30 years, and I've seen a lot of changes in the community, and I can see how the community is very diverse. And I think if we all work together, we can do a lot of positive things for the community. And I mean, fortunately, we're in a community where what I see from my perspective, a lot of people get along well, where I think more fortunate than other places where they have a lot of issues. It seems to be, especially with the younger people, it's very diverse, but everybody kind of gets along well. You see, you know, with the schools, and I'm sure Dr. Garcia can attest to this. Just with the diversity, everybody's kind of learned how to get along together. They've learned one another's culture, and I see different people, how they're starting to acclimate and learn different languages and things like that. And you can see the younger people, you're seeing some cohesion with them. And I think us as adults can probably learn a little bit from them and be supportive and maybe push this in a positive direction, so we can avoid, you know, some problems, or make it so there's open dialogue so everybody knows they can talk. And I'm a very open person. You can call me anytime, day or night, and I'll be honest. I'll tell you my honest opinion. And if I don't know something, I'll tell you I don't know. Or if there's a problem, I have no problem, you know, no issue with getting in the middle of it and try to help and get everybody on the same page. And I think that's it. If anybody has any questions for me, I'll email everybody my cell number, my email address, and please feel free to contact me at any time. And I'm honored and kind of humbled to be sitting on this board with all these different people from the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions for Chief Callahan? Okay, we'll move on. Dr. Lorenzo Garcia, would you like to address the group?
Sure. I'm humbled, and to be honest with you, I appreciate the fact that there was extended the invitation to be part of the commission. In my previous life, I was not in this country, but in Cape Verde, I used to be part of something like this. I think it's you know, I feel, you know, kind of proud actually to be part of such an amazing, just the vibe that I feel on this panel. And even when I was appointed, it sounds that, you know, the mayor and the team have great plans for the city, and by creating a team, a committee like this is an indication that he wants to take the city where it needs to be, which is being a place where people have a voice in the process, their needs are properly addressed, and their rights are respected, and they are treated as human beings. Obviously, this, like any other place, we have disparities in terms of access to resources and things like that, but that's the nature of the beast. We would not be here if the issues were not there. The reason for being on this committee and for forming this committee is exactly that, is to make sure that our city continues to be a little bit more inclusive, more equitable, and all voices, perspectives, and experiences are respected and are cherished and valued. And as a principal, I have been in the city for 10 years. Now I'm not the principal. I am at the central office. I'm in charge of equity and inclusion for the Revere Public Schools. And I can see this connection between the position that I am now, to these, with a commission, with this team, a nice way to really work together, collaborate. And just now, the data that I saw, that's a very good start. And I look forward really to work with all of you, support you the best I can, and also learn from you, because I don't know, there are many things that I don't know. People work together, they learn from each other, they learn from each other, and that's the way they grow. So that's what I'm looking for. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Garcia. Next, I'd like to have Karu pitch address the group.
Hi, everyone. I'm Karu Pitch. I am an executive director at Habuko, an organization that supports survivors of domestic violence and their children and families. I have been working there for more than 20 years. Aside on doing that, I am also a consultant to a national organization called the Women of Color Network. We're working toward building equity, help organization build a non-discriminate and racist organization. It's a national work, and I've been doing that for about 13 years. So I am honored and excited to see this group, to be part of this group, and to see so many diverse faces. So I'm really excited, and I hope that this group, I hope to build relationship with each of the member of this group, and really dig deeper into all the challenges that everyone is facing, and kind of work from there and meet everyone where they at, and then build from there, and really addressing the the inequity in our community. And I'm really excited to be part of this building.
Thank you, Karu. Anybody have any questions or comments for Karu? Okay, next, I'd like to ask Commissioner Lynn Alexis for an introduction. Can't hear her. Want to unmute?
Okay, I'm unmuted now.
Yes, you are.
Okay, my apologies for that. I just would like to say good afternoon to everyone. My name is Lynn Alexis. I am an attorney to practice in the state of Massachusetts. And just by way of introduction, I am extremely, it's a privilege to be a part of this commission and really a responsibility, a personal responsibility that I feel if I can be of any type of assistance or encouragement or to facilitate any type of positive change, I think it's a responsibility to do so. So along with everybody that's expressed that this is extremely and a privilege for me to be a part of, I'm encouraged by Chief Sahart as well. Thank you, Chief, for that extension that we can reach out to you. And similar to what Dr. Garcia said with respect to the data and how this is such an expansive view of where and how wealth is distributed within our city. So overall, my heart and my vision is to, I think it'd be critical for us to be able to be proactive with this type of data to see, where and how we can provide assistance where necessary. And just that the Human Resource Commission would be a view in the way that we create, whether it's policies or the things that we distribute within the city. I think it's critical that we're looking at policies within a human rights standpoint as well. I'm also a United States Marine. I'm a staff sergeant in the United States Marine. And I say that because it is also my heart that, everything that I'm a part of, and I'm so proud to be a part of this city that is integrous in the way that they're willing to help just human rights in general. So I do believe in honor, courage, and commitment. And I'm excited to be a part of what we're laying down as the groundwork for the Human Rights Commission. That's all that I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn, and thank you for your service. Of course, anyone have any questions or comments for Lynn? Okay, we'll move on to our next commissioner, Rev Timothy Bogardman.
Sorry about that. I just wanted to say to everyone, it's an honor to be a part of this. And as everyone has said before, to be part of this commission and to work together with so many diverse voices and to work together as we seek to move the city forward. And I'm the senior pastor of the First Congregational Church in Revere. I've been there about a month now. I was associate pastor for 13 years here before that. So I've been here for 13 years and really seen the city change over that time and been a part of a lot of different things within the city through that. I'm thankful to, of course, work with the city in many ways through our food pantry and other opportunities where we continue to serve and help those who are in need, especially during this time. And, I hope that this commission, has been mentioned already by some of you, is just that we can continue to pursue the rights of many that are maybe marginalized, ignored, and continue to support the diversity that we have in the city to move it forward. There are a lot of positives, also a lot of concerns that we will continue to work together towards. But I'm thankful that a lot of us have the voices we can learn from each other. So thankful for that. I hope that we can also learn the history. I love to learn, go back and remind ourselves kind of when the original Human Rights Commission started and then where we are now. So as we do move forward, we're aware of Revere's past, because we do need to look back for a brief moment too and see when this started, where were we? And now as we move forward, how do we do that? And this, I really was thankful for Noah's presentation here because it does give us a lot of reminders about some of the changes we can move towards. And as Dr. Garcia said, even in the high school for teachers and other things that we can just start to notice and be thinking about as we work together, what are ways we can help the city to be continue with inclusiveness, but also the rights that we care for all people, whether that's income, diversity, or otherwise. So thank you so much. And I'm honored to work with all of you together here.
Thank you, Reverend. Any questions for Reverend? Moving right along, I'd like to ask Rashid Mohabir to give us a presentation. Hi, Rashid.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very happy and honored to be in this commission. Again, my name is Rashid Mohabir. I work as a technical service manager for a medical device company that is making a device to preserve transplant organs, and I'm representing the organization worldwide. I have a bachelor's degree in electronics, master's in technology management, and I have been very active in the community with respect to the Moroccan community, because at a certain time I realized that it's marginalized. And that's where we started the Moroccan American Community, Moroccan American Connections in Revere, to empower and inspire the American community through education, leadership, civic engagement, and leadership initiatives. We did so many initiatives in the city of Revere, and we were very successful. We had a voice as a Moroccan community in the city, and we wanted to help other communities to do the same thing. So through the festival that we have had in Shirley Ave, we started promoting other cultures, and we started having each year a guest country. So to show them what the Moroccan community did, so they can do the same thing to empower themselves and have a voice in the city of Revere. Not that long ago, I remember I was with Jalon Fowler and Commissioner Shayma protesting at the city hall. And I'm really happy to see the city getting together and not marginalizing those voices that speak up, and they were trying to give a voice to their communities or the people that they represent. And I'm very happy to work together. And to answer the question of Commissioner Chief Bright, what we should have as a mission for this group, I believe we should incorporate something that tells strongly that everyone in the city of Revere should be treated the same. And not only that, because there are some communities that are underrepresented, we should probably treat them with privilege, not marginalize them. So the data to me is very troubling when we see like a lot of colored communities, they don't have access to good education. Probably we want to help those people get a good education. And that's what I'm trying to do lately in light of COVID-19, because that pandemic hit the world. And I realized that I shouldn't be just working with the Moroccan community. I should be working with humanity. And we stepped up to the plate and we made 32,000 masks for the city of Revere. And now, as we speak right now, I'm training 36 people on IT support. I already trained 40 of them, and some of them already got a job. And I'm very happy to make that change in their lives, and they will be always there for this underrepresented communities. So right now, I'm very glad to announce that due to the pandemic, we had to change our mission for the organization, and is empowering and inspiring low to moderate income families and individuals. And I'm really happy to help.
Fantastic. Thank you, Rashid. Anyone have any questions or comments for Rashid? Seeing and hearing none, we'll move on to our unconfirmed members at this time for an introduction. Janine Mara.
Hello. As everyone said, it's really an honor to be here, and it's humbling to be included on this commission. I was trained as a physical therapist, and my path has evolved into now being the owner of Tranquil Flame Yoga and Wellness. I'm a meditation teacher, and I've especially recently have been immersing myself in education so that I can understand better the ways in which I may have good intentions and be a good person, but I am unintentionally or unconsciously contributing to systems of oppression. I may be a minority as a woman, but as a cisgendered, straight white person, I have been the benefit of many privileges. And so in my own search for understanding and education, and to be able to offer that to this group in the city, and however that is best. And it was really helpful to have the information presented. I'd like to finish by saying, ultimately, we're all human beings, regardless of our race, our ethnicity, our sexual identity, expression, our socioeconomic status. Fundamentally, we're all human beings. And so whatever we can do as a commission and I can offer to help that elicit some action within the city through whatever needs to take place.
Thank you very much, Janine. Appreciate that. Next up, I'd like to hear from Shay Hosani.
Hello, everyone. Can everyone hear me? All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Shayma. You could just call me Shay if you want. Doesn't matter. I am a sophomore at Suffolk University, and I double major in biology and public health. I am an aspiring physician, so that plays a big part of why I want to be a part of the Human Rights Commission. I believe that as a future physician, it is my job and my duty to protect and to stand up for all human rights for all people, from all genders and sexualities and races and all communities. And I believe being a part of this committee will help me achieve that. At the same time as I feel like I'm kind of the youngest person here, I bring representation to the younger generation I bring representation to the youth of Revere, especially those who feel like they don't have a voice, which is what I see a lot. A lot of them are either scared or they're not being heard. So me being in this position gives them an extra, gives their opinions an extra boost and extra representation in the city of Revere. I believe that through the opinions of the youth in Revere, I feel like we can make some serious changes, since they are the ones who are kind of receiving the repercussions of some of the problems in Revere, especially those who come from either Black or brown communities or even low income communities. So I feel like me being in this position will I hope will ultimately change it. And as my time here through the commission, I really hope to make some serious changes. And like I said to everyone before, I would sacrifice my own life for Revere. So I would do anything to make it a better place for everyone. And I can sincerely say that Revere is my home, and I would like to keep it that way. And I want to make sure that everyone knows the greatness of Revere. So that's my story. Thank you.
Hello, Kathy. Sorry, Shay. Thank you very much. That was wonderful. Next up, we'd like to hear from Kathy Ann Reinstein. Hello, Kathy.
Hi, Chief. How are you? Hi, everyone. My name is Kathy Reinstein. I am a lifelong, very proud Revere girl. It was nice to hear Shay say the same thing. And I was a state representative from Revere for 15 years. And now I am currently the head of government affairs and external relations for ROCA Inc., which is involved in 21 communities across Massachusetts and in Baltimore, Maryland. And it's an honor to be part of ROCA. And it's also really an honor if I am appointed by the council to be a part of this, this committee as well. it was really nice to meet. There's some of you I've known and worked with for a long time, and there's some that I have not. And it just shows how much really things have changed in the city in a very short time. And I think that that is really exciting. I think that this is a wonderful, diverse city. Will always say that I'm very fortunate not only to live, but to have grown up here. And I know that everyone has their own experiences, but everyone should have a good experience and everyone should be treated fairly. And I really look forward to having civil and productive discussions with this committee. I ask a lot of questions, and it's because I want to know and I want to learn and I want to try to make decisions with all of the information in front. So I look forward to learning from a lot of you, meeting a lot of you. And I want to thank the mayor and the council and all the city leadership for resurging this commission. I think it's really an important thing. And I really look forward to the conversations that come forward. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much, Kathy. We noticed that Mayor Rigo has joined us, so I'd like to pass off the mic to our Honorable Mayor Brian Arrigo.
Hi, everyone. I am sorry I'm late, and I'm sorry I have a 2 o'clock, and I just ended up an interview that got cut a little bit short. So I am so grateful for everyone that's on this call and on this Zoom to be willing to take the time and put the energy in to get the Human Rights Commission reignited in the city. And I know that all of you are going to do some great work, and there's a lot of good work ahead to do. And I guess if there's one thing that I want to impress upon every single person that's on this call right now is that I want all of you to think about how you can challenge us, and I say challenge us as leaders of the city, how you can challenge me and how you can challenge other leaders in the city to do better. You know, I think the process to get the Human Rights Commission up and running really showed that there is a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of education that needs to be done. And I'm leaning on you to help us with that task and with that challenge. But I'm also leaning to you to challenge us and challenge the city on how we do in terms of equity, in terms of making sure that our policies and our ordinances are being well thought out, and to make sure that the work that needs to happen has the amplification that it needs. And so, you know, I look forward to not necessarily being too much of a part of the work that you do, but I look forward to the thoughtful and engaged conversations that I know we'll have about the future of the city, about educating residents around racism and equity, and what those words mean to people, and really trying to kind of unpack a lot of that, those terms and what they mean, and and the people's perspectives that they all bring to the table. You know, the amount of time and effort that you all are willing to put into this is really something that I admire. I again can't thank you enough for being willing to serve the city in this capacity, and I look forward to some great, productive, informative, and thoughtful conversations. And on top of that, to make sure that there's action that happens out of those conversations, because that's the most important thing. And I see Kathy shaking her head because she knows, you know, it's one thing to have great conversations, but the action needs to take place, and that's where I know that all of you are doers more so than talkers. So again, thank you for the time, and thank you for being willing to serve the city.
Thank you, Mayor Riga. Thank you for resurrecting the Human Rights Commission and your thoughtful appointments you put forward. Anyone on the commission like to ask the mayor anything?
Oh, he's gone.
Oh, he's gone? Sorry, the mayor had to leave?
No, I'm still on. If anyone has any questions, if anyone has any questions, I do have, I have a few minutes, but and please, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I think everyone on this has my cell phone number, but if you don't, we'll make sure that you have it. And if you have any questions or any kind of ideas or thoughts, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Thank you, Mayor Rigo. Thank you for joining us. At this time, I'd like to move on to our last appointed but unconfirmed member. Last but certainly not least, could I ask Jalen Fowler to introduce herself?
Yes, thanks, Chief. So my name is Jalon Fowler. I'm honored and excited to be here, hopefully to be confirmed soon. About me, I work at John Hancock, a technical lead there. I've worked in IT for my whole career, either software development and support. I ended up in Revere about 15 years ago with a young family. We stayed in the city and raised our kids here. Been involved with the schools and sports. Many of you I've crossed paths with already. I've had the chance to meet a wide array of people, which has been great. And I think one of the things that I'm happy to bring here is representing many different walks of life. You know, I'm a Muslim, a woman, African-American, parent, sports fan. And also I have a child with special needs. So I've become well-versed in that area too. So that's often a demographic that kind of gets overlooked. So I'm happy to always remind about that. I'm looking forward to the good work that I'm sure will be done as part of this committee. And I'm really interested in looking forward to meeting you all. I'm very approachable and always open if anyone ever needs anything from me or I can be of assistance. And I'm sure I'll talk to you all. So thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Jalon. Anyone have any questions or comments for Jalon? Well, we appreciate that. I noticed we're coming up on our hour. This meeting was planned for 1 hour. I want to be mindful of everyone's time. The last item we really have to discuss is, and it's probably the most difficult one, will be the scheduling of future meetings. I know everyone has great demands on their time and their schedule, so not sure the best way to kick it out other than maybe we can get a group email going to find out everyone's preference. I think there's been a little bit of work on that so far. But anyone have any,
I think that's probably the best idea.
Thoughts to try to, we're never going to be able to accommodate everyone's time exactly probably, but we'll try to, best get the consensus of the group, if you will, if that's okay with everybody. We'll be working on that between now and the next meeting. And I would imagine we'll probably meet, although it hasn't been discussed, sometime next month. We're looking for a November meeting? Oh, yeah, okay. So maybe we can try to plan on something sometime in the second week of November. Maybe everyone can check their calendars. And okay, so you'll be on the lookout for an email from Ruben, and we'll try to get a consensus for our next meeting.
Excuse me, would it make sense to wait until the appointment committee on Monday?
Oh, I don't think it'll be going out before Monday, Janine, but yeah, okay. That makes perfect.
Okay, thank you.
I have a suggestion.
Sure.
So now that we have the data, obviously we need more data, but I always tend to believe that data will show us where we need to go. Does it make sense? I heard Mr. Mayor talking about the fact that he wants to see action. So does it make sense for us to look at the data very carefully, have the gentleman that shared the data with us, send it to us, a copy of that data. We can also dig around and get more data and start to really study the data so that when we do come back to our next meeting, we are well informed and we start to develop some action steps to try to make a difference and try to address some of the issues that we see in our city.
I think that's a great idea, but I think Chief was also saying we have to come up on a mission statement.
Oh, that's true. That's true too. Yeah.
Too, right?
That's true too.
Like Janine said, you know, some of us still have not been appointed yet, so
Okay.
I don't want to jump too far ahead for myself, but I think that's a great idea, though, and I know Ruben said he would send us the data. So thank you, Ruben, for doing that. That's a good idea, Dr. Garcia.
No problem.
Mission statement, you know, absorbing the data. We're gonna have to pick offices for the commission. There's gonna be a lot of work to do, and I'm sure we'll get through some of that on our first official meeting. This is actually a webinar, so not a meeting, but so. Anybody have anything else they'd like to add?
I would love to come up with a date because you know, some consistent date so that I, you know, can just like book it. And then also I like the suggestion of Dr. Garcia, really looking at the data, and then also not just the data, like moving forward. I would also, beside the mission, I would love to have some kind of basic 101 training around racism or some other form, so that we have a kind of a foundation, so that it's easier to kind of move our work forward. And I also would love to hear a story from the community as well.
Okay, thank you, Cole. Any other comments from the commissioners?
One other thing, just wondering, do we have a previous mission statement from the past? It would be good to see what thing are there documents? Is there anything we can pull from the past, from the previous Human Rights Commission that we can look at just to help us as we move forward? I would wonder if we have anything we could find on that.
Reverend, I looked a little bit, a little bit of time I had before the meeting, but I don't think there is, I didn't see a mission statement on file. There is ordinance on the Human Rights Commission, and I'd be more than glad to draw something up for the next meeting, a basic type of mission statement. And I'd invite anyone else to do the same, and then we can get to work on it from there.
Sounds like a good idea.
That'll be a lot easier than probably scheduling the meetings.
Thank you, Bright, too, for running this meeting.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything to add?
Chief, I'm just curious because I work as a full-time technical service manager, and I'm doing this training, this IT training at the same time for the community, and it's taking a lot of my time. I just want to see how much time this commission will take from me, just to be prepared. Because to be honest with you, I was very, very busy. I did not look for any new responsibilities, but when that invitation was extended to me, I couldn't say no, because our city really need this commission and they wanna help as much as they can. So if we can have just an idea how often we gotta meet and how much time the commission will take from us.
Well, Rashid, I believe, I don't think there's anything written in stone on this. I think it could be up to the commissioners to discuss how often they'd like to meet, how long you'd like to meet, how much work you'd like to do. If anyone would like to head a committee, a subcommittee, training, whatever direction we decide to go, air grievances. I mean, I would advise you all to go on revere.org, go to the city website, pull up the ordinance for the Human Rights Commission. It's only 4 pages long. Give it a read. Kind of put you in the right space for this. And again, it's going to be something we all have the honor to participate and to kind of to set the agenda for. So, you know, it's not my intention to try to dictate that at all. And hopefully we have some people, and just judging from some of the comments, which were pretty impressive, I think we have some pretty good potential offices for this commissioner going forward. So I don't know if that answers your question, but it's pretty much up to all of us. Okay. Anybody else have any comments? All right, without further ado, I don't think we need a motion because this is not an official meeting. It's just a webinar. So without objection, I would say we adjourn the meeting for today, and you'll be hearing from us to schedule the next meeting in November. Thank you all very much for being here. Okay, appreciate your participation.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice seeing everybody and meeting you.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Chief, for hosting it.
Thanks, everybody.
And Chief Callahan, I will reach out to you soon.
Yes, for Harbor Cove.
Yes, yes.
Okay, excellent. We need your help. Thank you.
Thank you.